The Oversight Committee uncovered a bizarre situation involving Krongard's brother, Buzzy.
I'm trying to understand why you are so reticent about investigating Blackwater. I would like to show you a letter the committee obtained and ask you to comment on it. This letter was sent from Eric Prince, the CEO and founder of Blackwater. He showed that letter on July 26, 2007. Mr. Prince sent this letter to Alvin Buzzy Krongard, your brother. The letter invites him to serve on Blackwater's Worldwide Advisory Board. My question is this: did you know that your brother, Buzzy Krongard, is on Blackwater's Advisory Board?
Sir, I dispute that. As far as I know, that is not correct. There is nothing in here that suggests that my brother accepted this July 26th invitation.
He thought he could just get away with saying, no, it's not true, his brother's not on the board of Blackwater, and that would be it. But the members of our committee were ready. And one member asked him, see this email from Eric Prince, who's the head of Blackwater, to your brothers, thanking him for joining the board.
Let me ask you this. Mr. Krongard, did you know where your brother is this week? Do you know?
No, sir, I don't.
According to this email, Mr. Prince invited your brother to a board meeting to discuss strategic planning. And this meeting is taking place right now in Williamsburg, Virginia, this week as we speak. Staff contacted the hotel to speak to your brother, and the hotel confirmed that he was scheduled to be there. And did you know that?
No, sir, I did not.
And then we broke. Mr. Krongard, we're going to recess until 12:10. I think we'll be ready at that point to reconvene the hearing. So we're going to stand in recess.
Okay.
And then when we came back, he claimed to have this call that he finally decided to make to his brother to find out what was really going on.
During the break, I did contact my brother. I reached him at home. He is not at the hotel, but I learned that he had been at the advisory board meeting yesterday. I had not been aware of that, and I want to state on the record right now that I hereby recuse myself from any matters having to do with Blackwater.
What went through your mind as you watched that performance unfold before your eyes?
The man was absolutely lying. His brother claimed that he informed him well in advance that he was on the board of Blackwater. When he was asked after our hearing, the brother made that statement publicly, and we even threatened to bring both brothers in, put them under oath, and see who was telling the truth and who was not.
Why didn't you do that?
Well, we were set to do it, but we heard from Mr. Krongard at the Inspector General of the State Department offering to quit rather than have that hearing. And in my view, it was better to have him leave that job than to go through a hearing that would have been embarrassing, but at least we got the result that seems is the best interest of the American people.
What does the failure of the Inspector General's office at the State Department and that episode say about oversight in Iraq today?
Here the watchdog, the Inspector General for the State Department, was impeding the work of doing the investigations to keep the State Department honest. Nobody was keeping them honest.
Jennings, you solemnly swear the testimony you've given this matter be the truth, the whole truth.
Remember Scott Jennings? Karl Rove's deputy from the White House Office of Political Affairs, the same fellow who gave that PowerPoint presentation to Loretta Doan and her staff explaining how the nonpartisan GSA could help elect Republican candidates. Jennings also testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee last year in the U.S. Attorney investigation. Henry Waxman's ears perked up when he heard Jennings admit to conducting official White House business, U.S. government business, on an email account that belonged to the Republican National Committee.
How frequently did you use this email address?
I believe I've seen published accounts that have several thousand emails on an active server at the RNC, so it's fair to say that I used it daily.
And would the thousands it referred to, would you think those are correct?
Yes, sir. I have no reason to believe it's not.
Jennings wasn't the only one. Waxman's committee found that at least 88 White House staff members were conducting business on the partisan server. Waxman has been trying to get those emails for months. And what do you want with it?
Well, we want to know on what basis some of these decisions were made in this administration. Well, you expect that government emails would be available to Congress. Were they trying to keep the information off the government email sites because they didn't want anybody to know about it? Were they trying to undermine the Presidential Records Act?
The 1978 Presidential Records Act was passed in the aftermath of Watergate, when President Nixon tried to prevent access to his taped discussions. When 18.5 minutes of those tapes went missing, Nixon's secretary, Rosemary Woods, demonstrated how she accidentally erased the information while answering the phone and transcribing at the same time, an explanation that became known as the Rosemary Woods stretch. Now, the minute a White House document is created, by law it must be preserved. By law, it belongs to the public. But along with the records of the Republican National Committee, millions of White House email messages have gone missing as well. Just the other day, Waxman disclosed that the White House itself told his investigators that it had no archived email from certain White House offices for hundreds of days between 2003 and 2005. This would include email related to some of the biggest controversies of the Bush administration, the destruction of the CIA's interrogation tapes, the leak by Karl Rove and others of a CIA agent's identity, and many other unsolved mysteries. On the basis of unfinished business, what's the question you want to ask about spending in Iraq?
If we're going to spend money in Iraq, are we doing any good? Are we rebuilding the country, or are we just throwing money down a rat hole? And if contractors are hired to do the work, we've got to make sure that they compete for the job so we can get the one who can do the job best through competition, and they need to be scrutinized constantly to be sure we're getting our money's worth.
What are the questions you want to know about Blackwater?
I want to know, are we getting our money's worth? Do we need Blackwater? Are they doing harm to our mission in Iraq? And if they break the law, are they going to be held accountable the way a U.S. military person would be held accountable for any violations of the law?
What do you want to know from Condoleezza Rice?
Well, I want a lot from Condoleezza Rice. I want to know, as Secretary of State, that she's supervising the money that's being spent by the Department of State in Iraq, that she's making sure that we're not supporting a government that can't rally its own people because it's so corrupt. The second thing and most important thing I want to know from Condoleezza Rice is, what did she know about the false claim of Saddam Hussein having potential nuclear weapons? And did she participate in a conspiracy with people in this administration to lie to the American people to get us into a war? She's the one, I think, along with the President, who has to be held accountable, because she was the one who was supposed to work with the President to be sure he had the right information and had the truth before those decisions were made.
Do you regret your vote for that resolution?
I certainly do regret my vote. I would not have cast that vote had I known that they were lying.
Do you get frustrated? Do you feel the administration has really been held accountable?
Oh, I get very frustrated, and I think this administration is doing a lot, maybe all it can, to keep from being held accountable.
Congressman Waxman, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Chairman Waxman has scheduled more hearings on February 15th in his search for the missing emails. We'll be sure to keep you posted.